Okay, ready, set, and we are live. So, hey, everybody, it's me again, Jonathan McMillan with Be Better Than Average. I am the director, founder of Be Better Than Average. And I'm here again with another Be Better Than Average BTA conversation. And I'm really excited, as usual, about today's guest. I have a closer relationship than I do with a lot of my other guests because this is my sister. Um, I just really honestly, I'm not going to go on and on and on because I could. So I'm going to mute myself. I just want to say that I'm really proud of the accomplishments that she's done over the past year, and she really has personified some of the things I talk about as far as the be better than average principles and the goal setting and in developing the empowered mindset and surrounding yourself with the right people in order to build up that success that you're aiming for. So I could go on and on again, but I think that she's best person to tell her story. So without any further ado, everybody welcome Keisha Simon. Hey Keisha, you look great. How are you doing?
Oh, good, good, good. So super excited to share my story about my 2015 year, which was definitely a lightning transforming year for me. And it did start off by doing a 30-day personal challenge and just setting goals and just kind of marking them off. Um, um, each time I accomplished one, I did get distracted on some areas, but then I gained on others. And this year it's preparing, and all that's preparing me for this year to make it even better. So yeah, so I'm glad to be able to inspire and share this with others.
That's what's up. That's awesome. And I've said it repeatedly that 2015 was probably the best year of my adult life, and I have a feeling that you would probably agree with that in your own personal life. Is that correct?
Yes, definitely. Kind of a year that I grew up, I guess.
Right. When you kind of welcomed adulthood into your being, right?
Yes, yes. So,
So you mentioned the 30-day personal challenge. So honestly, I'm not really familiar with what the specifics about that. What is that, and why did you choose to do that? Give me more about that story.
basically, at that time, it was in April, so it was right before my birthday. Just my whole real estate was going down, just personal. I was just going down, just kind of like a downfall. I did see a friend on Facebook. He started his 30-day personal challenge. So basically, the way I did it, I'm not sure how he did it, but I just kind of took everything that was negative in my life at that point in time and just kind of wrote down like what I couldn't stand, how can I change it, what can I do. I kind of looked back at my 20s and I was like, what, I was so happy then. What did I do then? And so I kind of just wrote down all these goals. I was like, one, I want to get back into fitness. I was like, two, I wanted to, modeling was definitely one. Three, me and Hayden, I'm a single mom to a 4-year-old. At that point in time, I was just unhappy with myself. So it was affecting our relationship too. So I definitely wanted to build a better relationship with my son. So all that I kind of just wrote down on a piece of paper and I was like, hey, I'm going to do one step to achieve that certain goal. So, example, I got my car for my birthday. It was a birthday present for myself. Didn't even think I was going to do that. But I just said, hey, the first step, why don't I check the blue book, and I checked that and then just kind of kept building up. And I did that. And then another thing was the fitness. I kind of was like, hey, I want to get back into modeling. I want to do this, but what's the first thing? I got to get into fitness, which then led to all the bodybuilding competitions that I did last year. So it was just kind of just looking at what was negative in my life and wanting to change that and just make goals to achieve the dreams that I have and the vision that I want.
That's awesome. That's awesome because I don't think that in all of the conversations I've done so far, I don't think that anybody has really broken down the correlation between unhappiness and happiness and the goals that fit in between those bookends. A lot of times people they say I'm unhappy and they just stay there in that space instead of looking at, well, what can I do to change the situation? and bring about create the happiness and find the happiness that it is that I want. Um, and I thank you for sharing that, because you just really broke it down. Like, you looked at it, I'm not happy with what I have, so I need to do something different. What do I need to do differently? And just acting, that first step of just looking, taking some action, moved you closer, which then builds upon the next action. So thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that.
Definitely. And plus, another thing, I was like, well, no one's going to change the situation that I'm in except me. So I had to do it. So definitely, I couldn't help, the personal and everything. It was me that had to change it. So definitely, that's how I look at it.
So, and I think we kind of touched on this, but what is there, did you write down anything that, like, your specific motivations? Because I know some people, they look at, they want to make a lot of money, or they want to change careers, or they want to, like you said, get back into fitness. What were the types of things that you identified as your motivators?
My top one was definitely Aiden. Just having a better relationship with him. So, which kind of trickles down to everything, of course, money. Don't we all want more money? And then that trickles down to me being happy with myself. So getting back to just being me. So I think he was definitely my biggest motivator to make the changes that I did last year. Um, so he was definitely the reason why a lot of stuff happened.
Hmm. Well, that's cool. So what did that motivation, did that, with Aiden being your motivation, did that kind of shape the goals that you took on?
Yeah, they did. Especially, I mean, I bombed last year with real estate, definitely. I had goals. I wanted to do a certain amount of things, a certain amount of business, but I bombed on that, which then led to depression and everything else. But then I just kind of sat there and was like, okay, well, I can't continue to, not make money and not do this and try to support Aiden. So it was like, okay, I need to find something for me to be happy and, um, just start working towards those goals.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm sorry, I
Well,
was nervous in the camera.
no, that's fine. Hey, look, be at ease, be at ease. I mean, you don't, if you want to look at the camera, look at it. If not, don't. Uh, that's that's the smallest part of this. Everybody wants to hear your story. So what I wanted to ask is, like, so now that you are an experienced goal setter and goal getter, what are your three biggest goals right now?
Right now, I wrote them down. I kind of just focused on three things that I have going on in my life right now. So, one is for the bodybuilding. I definitely want to become pro at it. So, that's one of my biggest goals right now, and to finish out this year a winner. Two is definitely my real estate. It's what brings home, it's my career, it's what brings home and pays the bills. So, it's definitely just reorganizing that and setting goals of becoming a top producer, closing certain amount of transactions, and of course, making a certain amount of money. And then my business on this side, I definitely want that to skyrocket this year as well. So those are kind of my um, top three goals right now. But then it all comes to the main goal, which is with me and Aiden, just being comfortable and being happy and living comfortably.
Great. Those are awesome goals. In this past year, so I mean, you already identified that you were having trouble. Your relationship with Aiden wasn't where you wanted it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Financially, you weren't where you wanted to be. Emotionally, you weren't where you wanted to be. Um, what was your biggest obstacle to getting to where you wanted to be, and then how did you overcome that?
My biggest obstacle definitely was the mental part of it, just removing the can'ts, like I shouldn't, the fears saying I can't do that, I can't have that. I think that was like the biggest one at first. And then I just had to learn to tell myself, like, I have to remove those vocabularies from my head, and just take the first step and being like, look, I can do it. I can do it. So that was definitely something that I had to learn to do. Being organized. I'm still trying to get that under my belt. I'm still not organized, and time management is another thing I need to work on. So
Mhm.
there's still some things that I need to work on, but definitely that's how it just kind of started and blossomed.
Well, and that's a perfect segue to my next question. What skill or habit led to your current success or current happiness? Which is the one or two or maybe even three that led to you starting to be productive and get closer to your goals
The skill, like what skill?
or habit?
Or habit, definitely the bodybuilding, the working out. It that was huge. I guess I didn't realize exactly how much confidence and how much hard work and dedication would come out of that, which kind of, organized and has me seeing, okay, well, if I have this here, then I need to do this over here to achieve this. Okay, if I'm doing this here, then I need to apply this to here and achieve it that way. So I think the really unexpected thing was the bodybuilding. Haven't been this confident about myself for probably about 10 years. And just being shown, okay, I did this and I stuck to this and I did that. So why can I not do this on this side? So I think that was kind of the thing that helped me realize that.
Right. And you know what? I just realized the great part about these conversations is that they're just conversations and it's a conversation between brother and sister at this point. But a lot of people may not know about your success in bodybuilding. So can you take a couple minutes and tell us about that journey?
Yeah, so I had my son back in 2011. I was a stay-at-home mom for 2 years, so I suffered through the baby blues, the depression. All I did was eat. I wasn't social anymore, and so I put on, well over 50 pounds. I found a trainer a couple years ago, and his whole focus was just weightlifting to burn fat. So that's how I fell in love with weightlifting, and I saw a girlfriend at that time going through the competitions, and I said one day I'm going to do that. And then this year it was just kind of doing that 30-day personal challenge when I wrote that down, and I saw another girlfriend who was just starting to do the competitions. So I hopped in, found a trainer the end of April, did my first competition in July, which was um, it was fun. I got on stage, but I didn't do that much. I was last place. I'm 35, so I got to compete in the 35 and up. Took time off, found another trainer, and this past December 12th, so a month ago actually today, I ended up winning two first places, and then one second place, and then I was an overall contender for a bodybuilding competition under the new organization, the Inspire League, that Lee Thompson started, who's really good. He's an inspiration himself, just a businessman that kind of broke away from another league, and he just completely just started his new league this year. So just watching him too has been really cool and inspiring as well. But yeah, so this year my goals for bodybuilding, I have a couple more weeks and then I'm going to start training again to get my pro card. Hopefully get a couple more sponsorships. That would be nice, and to make it to the Utopia stage in November. So, and then I'll be done because it's hard work. I'm 35. It gets to me, but I love it. I love it definitely.
Well, it's always fun watching you train, watching your journey train when on Facebook, and the struggles that you go through with the whole meal prep and
Um,
carb loading and whatnot. And I
making
look
make
at you as
yeah.
like, man, I admire you, and I'm looking at myself in this camera right here. I know I need to get on some type of regimen.
Hey, when you're ready to take that step, let me know. I'll help you out.
Okay, all right.
but
I promise I'm gonna hold you to that.
But I know how it is. I love food, so the nutrition is the hardest part. That's definitely the hardest. The weightlifting is easy. It's the nutrition and the mind games that you go through, definitely, because you beat yourself up if you can only imagine. So,
Yeah, it that's the hardest part of any journey is the conversation that you have with yourself being very hard on yourself. A book that I read that really kind of transformed my whole way of thinking is The Four Agreements. Have you read that?
I don't know about
And the Four Agreements, in a very small nutshell, is essentially it tells a story about how humans operate, and we have four agreements with ourselves and with the universe. And well, we have a lot of agreements that keep us in a unproductive space. And the book basically says that you need to have four agreements. And the first one is to be impeccable with your word, meaning that you don't talk poorly about yourself or others.
that.
Bottom line, you don't say anything negative about yourself or others, and it just, you change that conversation that you have in your head about I'm stupid, I'm fat, I'm dumb, I'll never have enough money, I can't do this, whatever that story is, you stop talking to yourself like that. Agreement number two is that you stop taking everything in personal. If someone else says you're fat, that's their story. It's not your story. That says more about them than it says about you. Or someone says you're stupid, or if someone doesn't call you back, or whatever it may be, you stop taking everything personal. And hand in hand with that is that you don't make assumptions. When somebody doesn't call you back, or you don't get that job, or the guy cuts you off in traffic, or whatever it may be, we make up a whole story in our head about, well, he did that because I'm black, or he did that because I'm a female, or I didn't get the job because what, and we make these assumptions that drives us crazy, and it leads to us taking things personal and leading into the whole talking about ourselves and other people in a negative way. And then the last one is to always do your best, regardless of the circumstances. And that's an ever changing measure. Your best is always your best as long as you make it your best. So when you're sick, you might not do as good as you would on a day that you're healthy, but as long as you give your best, that's all that matters. So
Mhm.
anyway, that's a whole aside that it's a book that again really changed my way of thinking. And uh, you are again just demonstrating just kind of innately, which is great to see.
Oh yeah, and definitely that was I think the book that I read was How to Stop Negative Talk. It was something like that. But it
Hmm.
was be around the same point, just removing the can't and the won't and just down I mean, it's what you put in your head, that's definitely what's gonna come out. So if you're kinda gonna keep being negative about everything, then everything negative is gonna happen and that's all you're gonna see is the negative. So it's definitely one thing that I did last year was remove those negative thoughts.
Yeah, well, that's great. You're doing great with this because that leads me to my next question. Uh, who you have mentioned Lee Thompson, but I know there's other people in your life and other books that you have read. Lee could also be your answer. Who would you say, or what would you say has been your biggest mentor, or your biggest best influence?
Oh man, there's kind of a handful of people, especially with real estate. Definitely looking at some of the top producers here in the office, just to name a few, like Wendy Roloff and Connie Santiago. They, I just watch them and follow them, and every time they speak, I just, listen to them, just seeing their success that they've had in their real estate career. My manager Sharon, she's been pretty successful. She started one of the largest real estate schools here in Texas back in the day. So I guess just every aspect there's been an inspiration. Bodybuilding was Cassie, my girlfriend Cassie, who now competes figure, and she just won overall. So I definitely inspired by her and other pros in the industry. And then business sense. I mean, I just kind of take people from everywhere and just friends, family, stars, just kind of, positive role models. And I just kind of, if I'm like, this is what I kind of want to be like, and I just kind of follow them and then just kind of implement that as well. So I don't know if I have like one single standpoint person, but it's just kind of overall, and a lot of people have kind of played the role this year.
Yeah, that's actually very common with people who are striving to be successful, or find success in whatever area of life it is, because they have multiple people who I call myself a mentor collector. I have a writing mentor. I have a mentor in this whole space of working with personal development. You know, my mom is a mentor. Your dad is a pseudo mentor. My dad's a pseudo mentor. You know, it's just there's a lot of people who I look at, and then I have tons of mentors who I've never met in person, but I follow their journey and just watch what they're doing. I call Will Smith a mentor of mine,
Yeah.
because I aspire to be not an actor like him, but to have the at least the outwardly success that I see him attain, and the way that he talks and the things he talks about. I would like to follow that. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, you know, like you said, it may not just be one person or one biggest influence. It's a lot of you find what works for you, and you model it.
Mhm.
Um, s- so what is I have to ask this, then it goes hand in hand with the last question. Uh, is there a piece of advice that has been more helpful than any other piece of advice for you? Is there something that's one person told you that just kind of turned on the light and it helped you start down the path that you're headed? Or is there a book that you read or something that you would like to share with people and let them know?
I think the whole thing, one quote, because I love posting quotes on Facebook. One quote that I think kind of woke me up last year was seeing the one that was like, nobody's gonna pay your bills but you. So I think that was the one that was kind of like, oh yeah, no one else is gonna take care of any of these issues, which I guess I always thought some magical person would ever come and pay my bills and get me out of the situations. But I think that was the one that was just kind of like, oh, aha moment. That quote right there, I think, was probably a big influence last year. That it's like everything falls on you, what you bring in, the energy, your vibe, your circle, your goals, your dreams. It's you. It's you. You can definitely have people to help you, but if you want to achieve and get where you want to be, it falls on you. So you need to, grow up and put your big girl panties on and go for it and do it. So yeah.
You know, that is awesome. Like, okay, so first off, I agree 100% that that's a catalyst. That's a fire starter to get you up off your butt and get started. But the thing that watching you explain that, the thing that's really exciting about it is how you took that, because some people and a lot of people understand that nobody's going to pay their bills but them, but they get mad about it. They are depressed about it and don't understand how empowering that is, really. You know, if nobody's going to pay your bills but you, that means that you have the responsibility to make your life as successful as you want it. But then at the same time, nobody can take credit for it.
Mhm.
It's just so empowering, and I like that. No, I love the fact that you get excited about that, and grasping that just again, watching your journey over this past year is really exciting. That's what the motivator was.
Mhm, mhm. And I did. I rode with my manager today actually on tour for our property tour, and I told her I was like, I think I needed that fall down last year for real estate. It was about the first 6 months of the year. I had two closings, so that means I went broke. I think at one point in time I had $5 to my name. Me and Aiden were getting ready one morning. My power got shut off. I was like, oh, I guess that really does happen. I never had that happen before. And I think I just needed all that to happen last year. And now it's just like, right after that, a couple months later, I did my biggest sales in one weekend where I closed and pinned it over $1.7 million in one weekend. That was a couple weeks after that happened. I started implementing buyer seminars this year and focusing more. So I think it's always good to always kind of crash and burn, and don't get stuck there. That's one thing. I had a time where I sat in the kitchen with a bottle of wine and drank the wine and cried and screamed and yelled and everything. And then I just kind of left that there and just kind of moved on and grew from it. So I think it's always, I definitely encourage to crash and burn and kind of be like, get angry sometimes, but don't get stuck there. Just, you got to move on. You got to get over it and move out. So definitely.
Man, Keisha, this is giving me goosebumps. 'Cause that's so powerful. I always said that if I was going to write a book, which I did, but if I always said if I was going to write a book, I was going to call it Rock Bottom. It's a nice place to visit, but you don't want to live there,
Mhm.
because I've hit rock bottom a few times, and each time I grew better because of it, and hopefully, I won't ever bottom out again. But if I do, I know that I have a whole lot of the wisdom experience to, get right back up. One of my mentors, my public speaking mentor, his whole platform is built around, it's not about the knockdown, it's about the get up. And he
Exactly.
tells the story about Muhammad Ali getting knocked down and knocked down and knocked down and keeps getting up and then eventually winning the fight. So um uh again, it gives me kind of chills just to hear you tell your version of that story and him telling that version. So again, thank you again for participating in this and really reinforcing the principles that I want to get out here. I
Yeah,
want
and
to go ahead.
yeah. Oh, well, real quick too, and another thing, yeah, there's always going to be your life is going to be a roller coaster. You could be 1 minute you're at a high, and the next minute it's just going to go down again. You just, just implementing on that. You just got to learn how to raise up afterwards.
Exactly. So I want to wrap this up and ask you just maybe two or three more questions. Typically, you have been perfect with this because typically right now is when I ask, what is your best piece of advice? And usually 10 words or less, but you've already dropped a couple of dimes. You know what I'm saying? If you was an MC, you'd be dropping the mic right now. So do you have another piece of go-to advice that you like to share with people?
Let's see. Gosh,
If you
nah,
don't, no pressure.
I can't think of anything right now. Of course, probably after the camera's done, I'll be like, oh yeah, that. I don't know, just be you. Definitely. That's one thing I try to always be like, oh my God, I should be acting like this, or I should be dressing like this, or I don't need to be doing that. But it's like, you gotta keep it real. That's how you're gonna gain business, or that's gonna how you're gonna, find who your true friends are, family, everything. So definitely just be you. Break away that normal um, read by the book, because if you have the book out there somewhere, let me know. But don't live by the book. Definitely break rules and just be you and do it.
You know, the authenticity, that's really important, and it kind of goes back to what we are saying about being impeccable with your word, again, especially against your, or not against yourself, but with how you use the word against yourself. We tend to develop these masks about who am I going to be when I go out in the public, and hope people like this person who I pretend to be, instead of just showing up and being you and understanding that that's the only you have. And that's the you that's going to find you the love of your life. That's the love. That's the you that's going to get you the business that you want. Uh, that authenticity is just so important and so lacking nowadays, especially with social media and people trying to craft their image about who they are. One of the most empowering things I have done is just decided to just, well, this, my DJ name was Wide Open, and just put it out there, flaws and all. I stopped trying to hide my felonies and my criminal past, and just like, look, this is who I am. Take me or love me. If you take me, if you don't, oh well, I'll be okay.
Yep. Be like, on to the next.
And
Exactly.
I see that in you, as stepping out of your shell and emerging as the grown woman you are. Like you said, as you're grown up here, being the businesswoman and the single mother and the award winning bodybuilder.
Yeah,
Amazing.
sounds good. Yeah. Entrepreneur. So
The
entrepreneur.
entrepreneur. So with that, the last couple of things I want to ask is, first off, what are you most grateful for right now, with all the things that have started to come into your life, and the measures of success starting to build and appear? What are you most grateful for right now, and why?
Right now, the most thing I'm most grateful for, of course, is just still being here every day, being able to achieve and accomplish my goals. Um, just recently, I know you've noticed a little bit going on with my car and stuff. That definitely took me down again, um, distracted me from everything. But right now, I'm just kind of like, I got to face the facts. I got to do this, but I got to still keep my eye on the prize. I still got to keep going. Um, so yeah, I'm just grateful, really, just to have this opportunity to
Hmm.
speak with you. Oh my God, this is huge. I have just stuff that's been happening lately. Opportunities presenting itself. Just so much to be grateful for right now, I guess. Uh, so yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot to be grateful for.
Well, that's what's up. I appreciate that. One of my foundations of the whole BTA curriculum is, well, actually, I would say the foundations of an empowered mindset, which is one of the principles of the BTA curriculum, is being habitually, powerfully, and purposefully grateful for every opportunity, person, and experience that you come across. Just looking for opportunities to be grateful and creating opportunities for others to be grateful is what it's all about. So I
I'm
just have one more question for you. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
And having a big support system, family, friends, coworkers, everything. That's another thing to be grateful for because they're definitely helping you build and building each other. So I'm
Mm,
grateful
that's awesome.
for that
So
too.
the last thing I just want to ask you is if well, not if, but when somebody watches this and they say, man, she's doing it, she's a real inspiration, but I want to get to know more about her, or I want to, oh, that's the realtor that I want to sell my house, or I need to find out more about fitness and bodybuilding, or I need to hire her for my next event, or
Remember?
single mother. I need some single mother tips, whatever it may be. What is the best way to get in touch with you? Realize that you could put out a website, phone number. When I edit this, I will put all the information at the bottom for you. So market yourself.
Um,
Go ahead.
yeah. So Facebook, it's really simple. Just push in Keisha Simons. It'll pop up Keisha Simons with my personal page. Just send me a friend request. My next one is my real estate. It's Keisha Simons Realtor. I am in Houston, but I'm with a broker that is nationwide, so I can help anyone anywhere. And then for my fitness, it's under Keisha Renee, um, and you can find all my fitness information there that I start getting on and being more active on that one. And then my business, my side business that I started actually at the end of 2014, but it really started picking up for 2015, is the bartending, the mobile bartending business. So that's under Serve It Up Houston, where we do private events and go to people's houses and bartend. So that's how you can find me. Just really put in Keisha Simons on Facebook, and you'll pull me up. Except for the fitness, you gotta do Keisha Renee, and then you'll see my fitness information come up.
All right. Awesome.
Oh, yep, and my phone number 832-948-2948. You can always text me. That's probably the easiest if I don't pick up the phone. But yeah, feel free to text or call. So yeah, that's my number.
Cool. Awesome. I appreciate you. I really appreciate you. And I'm sure that this is going to generate, just some more interest in all the things that you're doing. And we're going to build from here, sis.
I hope so. I hope so. And definitely one thing I really want to start working on is giving back to the community and stuff. Of course, pets are one of my biggest uh, biggest things I take pride in looking at shelters. But definitely like younger girls, like watching these teen girls and girls in their 20s. It's like I definitely want to get involved. Helping young women raise confidence. So if anyone's out there, just let me know. I'd be glad to help. And I just really want to dive into achieving that and helping that too. So,
All right. And I know in probably the next calendar year, with the work I'm involved in with my brother's keeper, that's focused on young men of color. But I know within the next year, the focus is going to not necessarily shift, but it's going to expand to all young people of color. So both boys and girls.
mhm.
Um, Morgan, our other sister, has expressed a huge interest in working in that humanitarian work, and so once that does begin to happen, I will definitely be looking at YouTube to
Make it
support me, and I'll support y'all in that.
make it a family affair. That'd be fun.
All right, well, I'm gonna wrap it up. Thank you again. Of course, I love you to death because you're my sister. Kind of have to, but uh, but because I want to, you make it very easy, and I'm just so proud of you. And thank you for taking time out to sit with me. I know we've been trying to get this done for about a month, but your schedule and my schedule just weren't mashing. But we just finally sat down and said, let's make it happen. And it's I think that the world is going to benefit because of our determination. I love you to death. I'm gonna let you go.
Okay, well, thank you so much. It was so fun, and thanks for asking me to do this. It's awesome. And I'm probably just mumbled, but hey, I get
No,
nervous.
you're good. You're good. I'll talk with you later.
Okay, bye.